I want to welcome you all to this Q&A that we're going to have today. Today, I want to talk about a very common subject that Raj and the whole team and Bob used to be asked all the time whenever we were talking and working with students. And that is, what about the fear? I feel fear to get in this call with you. I feel fear to make this decision. I feel fear to do the investment. I feel fear to ask this boy or this girl out. I feel fear to quit my job. I feel fear about a lot of things. So what the hell is fear? It's very important to ask ourselves, what is fear? What role does fear plays whenever I'm in a personal development process? And the truth is that if we are intelligent and aware, we're always going to be in a personal development process. Every day, 1% better, like Raj says. Every day, more vision, more emotions, bigger goal, bigger behaviors, better attitude, better working, living, and successful person habits. So if every day I'm growing, that means that I'm not staying in the same place that I was the day before. And there's a big reason for that. One of the biggest teachings that Bob gave me when I first met him, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, was the law of loss. The big awareness you gotta have whenever you work with the laws of the universe is that the primary law dictates you're either creating or disintegrating. I'm gonna repeat this because it's huge. Every second, every minute, every day, every hour, every month of your life, you're either creating or disintegrating. So nothing stays like it is. The galaxies are expanding, technology is expanding, the world is expanding, population is expanding. Why shouldn't we also be expanding? So if you're not growing every day, once again, you are disintegrating. That's why it's so important to have a target, to have a goal of growing, of getting out of the comfort zone, of doing things differently every day. Now, what happens when I do things out of the box? What happens when I do things that I'm not used to do? What happened when I think way further than what I was thinking last month? What happens when I get emotionally involved with a goal that is so big that it has nothing to do with what I was pursuing a year ago? What happens when I have to make decisions, have behaviors, say things, approach to people that I'm not used to? And here's the key point of today's seminar. You feel fear. But what is fear? Fear is not your enemy. I was just talking to this amazing lady, a good woman in Germany a couple hours ago, and I was telling her, fear is not your enemy. Doubt is your enemy. Let's talk about this then. Fear, it's an emotion, it's a frequency of vibration that is telling you one thing, that you are in the process of a quantum leap. Every time you get out of the comfort zone, it doesn't matter what it is, breaking up with your girlfriend, ending a relationship, building a new business, visiting a new country. Let's make it that small. Every time you get out of what is familiar, you're going to feel fear. And if you're growing 1% every day, that means you're going to the unknown every day, to the unknown dimension, to the unknown people, to the unknown ideas, to the unknown emotions. But that's exactly what is going to take you to the next level. So fear is not your enemy. Doubt is. Fear is just the awareness of all the frequency shifting that is going on inside of you. So once you become aware of this, and you're not going to become aware of this just because I'm telling you, you're going to become aware of this through repetition, through listening to this seminar a few times, through listening to Bob's teachings regarding fear a few times, through having the right mentorship, through studying the right materials, because the fear is never going to go away. Fear is always going to be here if you're growing. But if you build a good relationship with fear, not because you want to be tortured, no, because you have awareness, then you're going to start to win in a totally different level, because you're going to find out that if you're not feeling fear, you're not growing. That's it. Now, I'm not telling you that you gotta be scared the whole day. No, 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 no. It's just that a few times a day, if you have a goal, if you're in purpose, if you have a very clear, definite goal, a few times a day, several times a week, several times a month, you're gonna feel the fear. But what is the fear? It's the awareness that you're growing where you wanna be, but through an unknown path, through an unknown way. What is the most important thing that Bob is always telling us when he talks about setting C-type goals? Big goals, totally out of the box. You never know where it's going to come from. When you set a goal, if you know where it's going to come from, it's the wrong goal. You got to race it many times until you say, hell, I don't know how this is going to happen. And that's scary because what about if I don't succeed? Well, that's the problem. Fear is not your enemy. But when you start doubting yourself, that's when the problem starts. But when you study the right materials, when you have the mentor that is telling you exactly how to do it, why to do it, how to proceed, then you never feel scared. Excuse me, you never feel doubt. You only feel that fear that I'm talking about. Now, what is fear? It's a vibration. What's the opposite of fear? Faith. When you have faith, and we'll talk about that in a second, when you have faith, you are expecting an abundance. You don't know where it's going to come from, but you know, and you know that it's going to come from somewhere. You know, Bob taught me that the most important metaphysical book ever written, it could be the Bible. And the Bible is very clear on what faith is. The Bible says faith, it's to see the invisible. If you go back to the New Testament, Hebrews 11:1, it tells us very clear that faith, it's to see the invisible. If you go to Mark's gospel, he tells us everything is possible for the ones that believe. Well, if you're not understanding this, you're not understanding anything. That's why it's so important to have mentorship, because the mentor has a higher level of awareness. He's not better than you. He or she just has a higher level of awareness, and she or he can explain you exactly what it means. Ask, and it shall be given. What the hell is that? Well, it means that if you ask the right way, you will always receive. Anybody can ask. That's an intellectual process that is in the conscious mind. What gets complicated is to know how to ask. You need to learn to ask in a certain way. What is the certain way? Is the process you need to follow in order to achieve whatever you want. You probably already heard many times when you are listening to Bob or to Arach or to Monica or to any one of us, the coaches in the Proctor Gallagher Institute, that we tell you everything already exists. Well, it sounds a little bit complicated to understand. What do you mean everything already exists? What do you mean? Do you mean that me rich or me poor already exist? Yeah. Do you mean that me living in the US or in Argentina already exist? Yeah. Do you mean that me sick or healthy already exist? Yeah. Well, how's that? Everything already exists in one form of energy or another. There's three main forms that energy can take: thoughts, feelings, or physical manifestation. Just go back and think about the stick person: conscious mind, subconscious mind, and body. Those are the three planes of understanding that every single person in this world live on. Conscious mind is the intellectual side of your personality. Subconscious mind, it's the spiritual side of your personality. What does it mean? It means that's the part of you that connects with the whole universe. That means that's the part of you that, if you know how to connect in there, will hook you with God, with the universe, with infinite intelligence. But that's exactly what 99% of the population, as far as Bob taught me, do not know how to do, at least consciously. But when you learn to speak the subconscious language, that's emotions. When you learn to build an amazing picture of your goal and then dump it in the subconscious mind through emotions, It's a done deal. That's all it requires. Well, it sounds very basic, doesn't it? But very few people know how to do it. The good news is that you can learn how to do it. Bob was always saying, learning how to dump in your subconscious mind whatever you want, it's as easy or as hard as learning to drive. It's a skill you need to learn. It's easier as hard as learning to play an instrument or learning a new language. Is it worth it to spend a few months, a certain amount of money, a respectable amount of time on learning that for good? Yes, it does. Because once you learn it, you never go back. There's an amazing coach. Of course, he's not with us anymore physically, but he was named by Bob the best mentor he ever had. A lot of people thinks that the mentor that Bob honors the most would be Napoleon Hill because he's always talking about Think and Grow Rich. Well, he was an amazing influence in his life, but he always used to say, but the biggest mentor I ever had was Thomas Troward. And he never met Thomas Troward. He died way years before Bob was even born. But you can always have a mentor through his legacy. So Bob always said that Thomas Troward was the best mentor he ever had, and he only studied him through his materials and through his own mentors that were mentored by Thomas Troward. So he said, Thomas Troward taught me through his legacy that once your consciousness gets to a certain point, it never goes back. It's like a rubber band that you keep stretching. And when you understand that, you just keep edifying to the next level and to the next level and to the next level. And it's a never ending story. That's what really catapults you to the future. And the more you condition yourself, the more you become aware about this information, the more you become aware of who you really are, that's when your consciousness keeps expanding. And what's consciousness? Frequency of vibration, mindset, belief system, mental programming, it's all the same. I mean, we could make some difference between one and another, but at the end, it's the same. It's the paradigm. Are the ideas that I believe that are habits in my behavior, in my thinking, and my feeling, and that is giving me 90 to 98% of all the results I'm getting every day, every week, every month. Let's stop for a minute and think about how much you earn in average every year. Just think about it for a second. Well, that's your paradigm. Stop for a minute and think, how is your love and sex life? Just stop for a minute and think about it. Well, that's your paradigm. Stop for a minute and think how your relationship in business, in friendship are like. Well, that's your paradigm. I ask you 3 questions, but I could ask you 100. If in any one of them you want to improve that, it's easy to do it. What do I have to do? I need to meet new people? No, you got to get the mindset first, and then the people will come. That's one of the key points of understanding fear. Because in all this process of conditioning my mind, of stretching my vision, of doing different things, of studying different things, I'm gonna feel fear because I'm getting out of the box. So I will finish this short lesson so I can answer your questions in case you have any with this message. Fear is not your enemy. It's just the awareness of all the things that are going on inside of you in the process of a quantum leap. A quantum leap, it's an exponential jump that will take you way beyond where you currently are. But like Bob said, you never design or plan a quantum leap. You just become aware that you just took it. But a quantum leap, it's exponential growth. It can be in relationships, it can be in health, it can be in traveling, it can be in love, it can be in income, whatever you want to. But it's an exponential jump. Do we have the capabilities to do it? Yeah. But you need to be aware that you're going to feel fear every time you're growing. If you ever seen Bob drawing the lines of frequency where he says, you're here and you want to be here. So you got to go up all this frequency of vibration. Well, every time you go up in every single one of those frequency of vibrations, it's a new fear because it's a new vibration, because it's unknown. So how many times I'm going to feel fear to turn my yearly income into my monthly income, to attract the soulmate that I really want according to my standard, to really be in purpose doing what I love to do the most, regardless what other people is saying. It's going to take a lot of attitude from you, yeah, a lot of action from you, yeah, but a lot of understanding to know that you're going to be feeling fear in every moment. So you better build a good relationship with fear if you want to crush it. And you better understand that, once again, repetition is the first law of learning. Fear is not your enemy. Doubt is. Congratulate yourself and hug yourself and pet yourself every time you feel fear. Because like Bob used to say, every time that I don't feel fear after 4 or 5 days, I'm starting to get concerned. And I got to sit down and say, what the hell is going on? Do I got to stretch the vision? Do I got to stretch the goal? Do I got to change the date? I got to do something. And the only way to know what to do is to go to your mentors. So I hope that this seminar that we're giving you of 5 days, that this short lesson that I'm giving you in this call, and that everybody's going to get in their emails if they didn't make it to the live call, I hope it really ignites action inside of you so you can start your journey through mentorship. Because self-study, I don't care how good person, how disciplined person, how amazing you are in studying, self-study is never gonna do what mentorship will do. Because when you're self-studying, I mean, look all the books I have in my library, it's huge. But if I was reading those books from my own paradigm, from my current results, from my own perspective, my growth will be very little. But when you have a mentor that already went through what you want to achieve in the next year, telling you exactly how to do it, how you're going to feel, why you're going to feel like that, why to do it with fear, that's when the magic happens. That's when you go from 1,000 a month to 1,000,000 a year. That's when you go from being alone to having an amazing relationship. That's when you go from not believing in yourself to really understand who you are. And the only reason people don't believe in themselves, and believing is the awareness of the frequency of vibration you're in, the only reason people do not believe in themselves is for one reason: they don't know who they are. We are spiritual beings with an infinite potential that we can put into practice through our mental higher faculties: imagination, intuition, reason, will, memory, perspective. And that we are living temporarily in a physical world. There's the stick person again: physical, intellectual, and spiritual. So once you understand who you are, once you learn how the laws of the universe work, once you learn all the chaos and fears that you're going to feel, and you follow the process, I guarantee you, you will always win. Like Napoleon Hill says in chapter number 3 on faith in his book, Think and Grow Rich, faith will only be increased deliberately through repetition. But anything that you can see in your mind that you fear or you revere, it can be manifested if you follow a process. So get to work and learn the process if you want to crush it. So I'm going to open the mic if anyone wants to ask a question. I will be very happy to answer to every one of you. Go ahead, my friend.
Hi,
Go ahead.
Marcelo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. Where are you, my friend?
Mumbai, India.
India. Amazing. Welcome to the call.
So, thank you. So recently I decided to make short films, and I produced and directed and wrote 2 short films which are in editing now. Suddenly I was sitting one day and I thought I got an idea. If I can make short films and on the edit table it does look good, why can't I make a feature film? So I had that idea. That day only I sat and wrote down that goal that I'm going to make a feature film which I'm going to pitch to Netflix, and I'm going to shoot it by August 2023, and I have to do that. And And that's what I decided. I don't know where the money is going to
Okay,
come from.
I get it.
I don't know who is going to work with me. I don't know anything. I just know I'm going to do it. I'm going to produce and direct it and write it.
Okay.
I also got a story. After some days, I got an idea, a beautiful story on racism, and it's going to be amazing. I believe that. What happened? Something pulled me down. I met few people regarding it. I already had a meeting with small number of people regarding it. And they told me, oh, we will tell you after 2 days, what is your budget? I said, I don't know the budget. What is going
Okay,
to be the budget? I don't know that.
let me
Just
give
know
you
that I'm
some
going to make.
awareness. Let me give you some
What?
awareness. Listen,
Yeah.
let me give you
Sure.
some awareness and some coaching. Listen, there's two
Listen, please
processes
listen.
you need to understand. One thing
Mhm.
is goal setting. That's purely intellectual. Anybody can set a goal. Anybody can write something on a card with a pen.
Correct.
Goal achieving is different. Goal achieving, it's a lawful process. It's a spiritual process you got to learn. So you did very well the goal setting process. You wrote it down, you talk about it, you think about it, you're good. But that's only intellectual. And the intellectual side of you, that is the conscious mind, it's only creating 2 to 3% of your results. That's why you don't see it yet the way you want it. What you need to do is to get emotionally involved with that goal. When you get emotionally involved, that means you connect with the higher power that will give you everything. So in order to achieve that goal, we got to get the mindset first. It's not about going out and do a lot of things and talk to a lot of people and sign a lot of contracts. No, it's about getting the mindset first. That's what people, very few people in this planet understands because they don't study it. Once you study it, you understand it very well. But you got to get the mindset first. Why? Because the mindset means building a new paradigm, a new frequency of vibration, a new belief. That belief is going to guide you from the inside out. What does it mean? That once you get in that new mindset through repetition and conditioning, you're going to start vibrating exactly the goal that you set. And you're going to start to attract new ideas that you don't have right now. The ideas are here, you just don't have them yet. You're going to have them because they are in harmony with your new frequency. Well, when you attract that idea, you do it. But here we go again. You're going to feel a lot of fear because it's an idea you never had before. You know, if it's going to work or not. Well, okay, that's number one. Number two, you're going to attract new people. And it doesn't matter if that person is coming from Mumbai or it's coming from Thailand or it's coming from Australia. You're just going to attract, out of the 8 billion people in this world, the right person to accomplish your goal. And then you're going to have to talk to her. You're going to have to act over her. You're going to have to invest with her. And once again, you're going to feel fear because you don't know the person. And then the doubt is going to come and make you think, what about if she steals my money? What about if she's a thief? And you just got to follow your guidance. I love the way Bob used to say it. When you're guided through your intuition. But very often, because we don't understand this, we argue with our intuition. And our intuition is the voice of God. Why the hell should we be arguing with God? Well, because ignorance. But when you study and understand this, you just, like Arach told us today in the seminar, you become an expert in accepting the ideas. You become an expert on accepting the guidance. And you do it regardless fear, doubts, anxiety, lacking, whatever. You just do it. When you put action, that raises your frequency of vibration. That's why it's so important to understand implementation, because you might be talking amazingly and have amazing goals, but if you're not putting action by the guidance you're receiving, then nothing is going to happen. If there's no action, there's no reaction from the universe. So I hope this answers your question, my friend. And I'm going to go to the next person because we have a few hands up. Okay? Sarina, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much, Marcelo, for this. My question is, do you think there is a paradox between fear and doubt? Because what I understood right now is that I can feel this fear. It feels as if it were true, but it's not true. But I can still feel it, but leave the doubt away.
Okay. You're always going to feel fear, always, if you're growing. If you're in the comfort zone, if you're stuck, if you are conforming with whatever you have right now, and that is not what we want, then you're never going to feel fear. But you're going to have a terrible, frustrating life because you just don't get out of the current results. But when you're growing, like I know you are, Sarina, then you're always going to be feeling fear. That's why I was saying you got to learn, you got to make a paradigm, you got to make a habit of having a good relationship with fear. Because if you don't, every time you feel fear, you're going to go to doubt. And that's what messes you up. Doubt is your enemy. Fear is not, but you got to separate them. You tell me, is there a paradox between them? Well, they're totally different. One thing is fear, one thing is doubt. Every time you feel fear because you're doing different things, because you're pursuing your goal, because you're growing your vision, because you're going farther than you ever gone before, that's good fear. Don't, and this is for everyone, don't get confused with the fear that comes from seeing a rattlesnake or the fear that comes from going into a very dark house that there might be a thief in there. That's a different fear. That fear comes from lacking and limitation and bad energy. I'm talking about fear that comes from loving energy. When you're chasing your goal and you say, son of a gun, I don't know who this person is, and it might steal me, but that's what the universe is telling me. I'm going to do it. That's when it comes from loving energy. How can you tell if it's coming from positive or negative energy? The positive loving energy always stuck to you through your heart. The other come through your paradigm, through lacking and limiting thoughts. So keep that in mind. Now, one more thing, Sarina. If after a few days you're not feeling fear, sit down and reevaluate your goal. Never change it, but ask yourself, is this really what I want? Is this as big as I know I can go? Is this goal motivator enough to wake me up at 4:37 in the morning with no alarm clock? And if the answer is no, well, you have the answer. You got to stretch that. But that's why it's so important, Sarina. And you have been through several different coaching programs with us. That's why it's so important to have a mentor. Just like you asked me right now, when you have a permanent mentor that you can talk to every week, that you can meet in seminars every week, that you can ask what materials do I have to study, that's when you stretch yourself. But when you try to do it from your own perspective and from your own paradigm, that's when we keep stuck. Arach is always telling us that he tried to do it himself for 3 years and not much happened. And then when he did it with mentorship, boom. Well, the same is my story. Everybody that knows me here that are my students or my clients know very well that I was earning 1,500 when I first jumped into coaching. And a year and a half after that, I was earning $1 million a year. So that's what a mind shift can do for you. But like I was saying, my good buddy from Mumbai, you got to get the mindset first, not the actions. Because if you go and put the action first, then they are coming from your current paradigm. You got to shift the paradigm, and then you're going to be guided. How long is going to take this, Sarina? Like I always say, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months, 300 days. Who cares? You still got to do it. So you better become aware that whatever it takes is what it has to take. Is there people that can do it faster than others? Hell yeah. For one reason, because they have an easier possibility to transfer energy, but you can also develop that through repetition. That's why the more you use this, the faster you manifest. A while ago, I was telling you that everything already exists, and I didn't finish the idea. Well, everything already exists on an image, or on an emotion, or in the physical world. So if you can just match one of them, you already have it. Because if you can see it in here, I mean, I don't have it in here and I don't think it's possible, but I can see myself living that life. Okay, you already have it in the intellectual level. Now, if you go through the mentorship and you do the right repetition and you study the right materials and you know who you are, then you're going to put it in the emotional plane of your understanding. Then you also have it now in the subconscious mind. Once you have it in the conscious and in the subconscious, it's just a matter of a few weeks or months to manifest it in the physical world. What will explain me this better? The law of gestation. The law of gestation states that once you plant a seed in the fertile soil of your mind, it's just a matter of time to come to life. Just like a bean or like a corn, if you put it in the ground, it will come if you nurse it. If you don't nurse it, it won't come. That easy. My kids understand this very well, so do we. Eli, go ahead, my friend.
Hello, my dear friend. Hope you are doing fine.
I am. Thank you, my friend.
Just want to clear something. In your purpose of life, you talked about helping millions to know, to understand their minds. How
Yeah.
can we separate this kind of the purpose from C-type goals, also from the last part of the magic formula that is talking we have to achieve something before we leave this world?
Okay, we gotta be very clear, Eli, on the difference between your purpose in life and your goals every 6 or 8 months. They're very different things. Your purpose in life is the duty that you're called to do in this planet before you leave. So your duty can be helping millions of people to feel beautiful if you have a beauty salon. Help millions of people to achieve their dreams if you're in my industry. Help millions of people to live in an amazing, warm, beautiful house if you're in real estate. So that's your purpose. You're gonna do as much as you can before you die. And you never know how long you're gonna be here. But your goal is very different. That's just one little thing you're gonna do in the next 6 to 12 months to achieve that beautiful purpose before you die. So a goal is just one of the stairs of the big stair you gotta walk through your whole life. Your whole purpose might take 120 goals or 60 goals or 37 goals in the next 50 years. But the thing in here, like Bob told us and Arach taught us to, is that every time you set a goal and you follow the process and you achieve it, you set a new goal right away. So you can keep pursuing that purpose. So every time I hit my goal, my friend, and all my goals are totally linked to my purpose, why shouldn't they? I mean, if I'm not doing things in purpose, I'm wasting my time. So everything I do, the jobs I do, the people I gather with, whatever I teach to my little kids, all the vacations I have, all the new books I buy, everything it's in purpose. I mean, there might be things that are not in purpose. If I go out in the weekend with my high school friends, well, 95% of them are not going to be talking about purpose, but I can take care of myself so I can be with them, drink a couple of beers, have a good time, remember high school years, remember the high school honeys that we had or whatever you want, and then you go back to the spirit of what you're doing. So when you understand that, you're going to do everything in purpose. So the next goal you set, it has to be in purpose. The next business you start, it has to be in purpose. The next new business partner or new friend that you allow to come into your life, it has to be in purpose. Because if it's not, you're going to be wasting your energy in there. So two different things, purpose and goal. If anyone in here wants, you send me an email, mgonzalez@proctorgallagher.com. Everybody has my email because that's how you get registered in this call. But if any one of you want me to send you a script called Purpose, Vision, and Goals, written by Bob Proctor, where he explains deeper why everybody has to have their purpose very clear, defined, you send me an email and I'll send it back to you. Thank you, Ellie. Becky, all the way from Tel Aviv. Go ahead, my friend.
Hi, Marcelo. Hola. Thank you so much for this session. And
My
I
pleasure.
would really like if you could expand a little bit more of the accepting the idea. I've seen Arash taking the card, you know, and saying, the moment I have the card, I accept the idea. And I would like to understand it a little bit deeper, please.
Okay. Accepting the idea, Becky, is what Neville Goddard, I believe a lot of you have heard about him. And if you haven't, go and get any one of his books. Neville Goddard, one of Bob's greatest mentors he ever had. Well, Neville Goddard tells us that accepting an idea is the assumption that it's already created. So accepting an idea, it's It's a universal process, Becky, that we're only going to be able to manage, to master as we gain awareness. Nobody can accept that they earn $10 million if they're earning $150 a week. I mean, just like that with no awareness? No. Why should I believe it if I don't see it? But the more you gain awareness and you understand that the real creation, it's invisible. The real creation, it's spiritual. Then you start to understand that anything that you can see, you can accept it and start working on it to put it in your subconscious mind. And because you have the awareness, you know that through persistence, through repetition, through auto-suggestion of the thinking, of the feeling, of the image, of the behaviors, you will eventually achieve it. But that's only possible, Becky, doing what you're doing, through gaining awareness every day. You're doing the Bob Proctor coaching since almost a year ago. You're doing the 7-figure self-image so you can understand how to connect with your spiritual side of you. Well, you're doing the right way. You're walking the walk the way it has to be walked, studying the right things and having somebody permanently to ask, am I doing correctly? Because it's very easy to drift. It's very easy to set a goal, to think that we accept the idea, and then 3 weeks after that, because we don't see anything, well, we lower the goal. That was exactly what Raj was talking today about. If you have a standard, you never settle. You gotta have a standard of the type of people you meet with. And I'm not gonna accept nothing down this. You gotta have a standard of the amount of money you wanna earn every month. It doesn't matter if you're not earning it right now, but you're seeing that, you're feeling that, you're behaving like that until you match that. You gotta have a standard of the soulmate that you wanna have. You gotta have a standard of the car that you wanna drive. You gotta have a standard of the service and the donations that you wanna give every month. And the more you hold that standard, the more you start to raise your current income to the income that you want to have. You raise your current relationships to the relationships you want to have. So accepting the idea means knowing that you know that everything already exists if you can see it. You know, one of my little kids, both of them, by the way, but one of my little kids, because I really taught them this since they were born, they were asking me like a year ago, the 11, when he was 9 or 10, he asked me, so that if I can see teletransportation in my mind, can that exist? Hell yeah. Can I see myself in the planet Earth and then appearing in Saturn? Yeah. If you can see it and you can hold that idea long enough and you can auto-suggest yourself long enough and you learn how to listen to your heart on how to do it, yeah, eventually it will happen. I don't know how long it's going to take. It's not even my passion, so I'm not going to get into that. But if you can see it in your mind, this was Bob's favorite quote, or one of his favorite. If you can see it in your mind, you can have it in your hands. So anything, Becky, anything, keep this in mind, you and everyone in this call, anything that you can see, if you follow the process, you can have it. If you cannot see it, no, you cannot have it. Why? Because everything by a lawful process, by the law of vibration and attraction, exists twice. First, in the imagination of the person that creates it, and then in the physical world. Everybody's using a computer or a cell phone or an iPad to watch this seminar. Well, somebody imagined that gadget before it was created. Everybody's wearing a shirt, a sweater, a t-shirt. Well, somebody imagined that and then they sold it to you. So everything exists twice. You got to first see it and then you can have it in here. Is that automatic? No, it's a process. So when Becky asked me, how can I accept the idea? It's a process. And what is the process? The repetition. The repetition of what? Of the right affirmation, of the right image, of the right feeling, of the right study readings, of the right rituals. There's a lot of rituals you can do to accept the idea. For example, a ritual that really connects me on accepting the idea of whatever I'm setting as a new goal is going in front of the mirror. And a lot of you are doing this because I know a lot of you. Go in front of the mirror for 5 minutes and looking at your eyes, repeat over and over and over and over and over your goal. For example, I am so happy and grateful now that Every month I'm earning a minimum of 150,000 euros, and I love it. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and wealthy. It is done. You go and do that 15 times, 3 or 4 minutes, in front of a mirror, looking at one eye, then looking at the other one. And at the end of 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, you're gonna feel so excited. And you're gonna start to say, I mean, it's not true, but it feels good. And then after a month, you're gonna say, I think it can happen. You know what feeling is? Is the awareness of the frequency of vibration you're in. So the better you feel with an idea, the faster it's gonna manifest. I'm not discussing here if feeling will take you what you want, to where you want. That's a fact. I'm just trying to help you to become aware that feeling, it's exactly telling you in what frequency of vibration you're in. So every time you feel bad, guess what is going to happen? Every time you say, damn, I hope I have enough money to pay the rent. That's an emotion. And that's the awareness of the frequency you're in. And the frequency of feeling fear of not making the end of the month means you're vibrating, I'm not going to make the end of the month. And guess what? You attract enough lacking and limiting circumstances and situations not to make it. What should we do when we are facing physically a challenge that we do not know how to overcome and accept the idea, like Becky was asking? Well, you write the problem. Arash is always telling us about this. That was the first day exercise he gave us. You write the problem. I'm very mad because it doesn't matter how hard I work. Every month, I'm very short of money. I'm sick and tired of this. What the hell can I do? Well, that's the reality in the physical world. Now you take another piece of paper and you write down, I am so happy, the total opposite. I am so happy and grateful now that money's always coming to me. I always have enough money to buy whatever I want, whenever I want, as many times I want. I travel the world. I'm financially free and I freaking love it. Well, you write that. You make it your new affirmation. You start using that affirmation in a certain way, and you'll see what happens in a few months. So, to make a very long answer, Becky, short, this will be my answer.
Thank you.
Accepting the idea, it's through repetition of the right idea. Ceci, go ahead, my friend.
Wow, Marcelo, I'm so happy to hear all this long answer because it came to me very, very deep. And I really thank you for that and all the wisdom that you share with us.
My pleasure.
And basically, yeah, there's the fear to do something, and then there's the fear which is what I feel right now. That is my process right now. It's so odd because I see my goal already done. I feel it, I visualize, I do the exercises. And now that I'm in the process of receiving, I'm feeling again fear to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, I just accomplished a goal. I'm about to receive it. And it's like the old paradigm trying to take me back, but I'm persistent and doing the repetition. Anyways, suggestions, because I remember you said, Narash said, don't pay too much attention to your paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on the paradigm that is going to help you to go to the goal. So I feel that I'm in the middle of the peeling the layers. So if there is any suggestions to help me to go through easier to my new paradigm, to my new level of awareness.
I'm going to tell you what I think Bob will tell you if he was in this call. He will tell you, listen, Ceci, you already achieved certain goal once. And he will tell you, he was very direct and honest. Anyone can achieve something once, but now can you keep doing it? So what we got to work on, Ceci, on your very specific question, it's on getting the habit of becoming consistent. Consistency is the real key to success, because a consistent seller, a consistent lover, a consistent winner, a consistent constructor, a consistent hugger will always do it. even if he or she doesn't want it, because it's a habit. I love that very often Arach tells us it's a lot easier for me to make $1 million a year than not to make it, because it's a habit. I just can't go to sleep if I don't do what I always do as a habit every day. And those good working habits takes me not to the million, to 6, 7, or 8 millions a year. So consistency is the key, Ceci. How do I become consistent? Well, I'm going to give you a few tips, because every day I'm working on that. And I believe I'm very consistent in certain things, and I need to get a lot more consistent in other things. At the end of the day, you got to get better in everything. That's the famous 1% better in everything. But a good way to be consistent, number one, you got to add the word consistent in your affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that every week I'm earning a minimum of 20,000 euros in a consistent and fun way, and I love it. That's number one, because you just repeat it and you repeat it, and in front of the mirror, and when you write it, and when you visualize it. Number two, consistency requires the right behaviors. And the behaviors are the consequence of the mindset. You're already working the mindset with the affirmation, with the conditioning. Well, now the behaviors means every day go and do whatever it has to be done. It's very easy to say it. Oh, I did everything. Well, doing everything means writing every day, like Bob always suggested us, a list of 6 things that your heart is telling you that are action steps to achieve your goal. And it cannot be studying these materials. It cannot be go to the supermarket to buy milk and eggs. It cannot be to go deposit the money of the week to the bank. No, those are your what to do list. No. Goal achieving action steps. I gotta call 2 clients in a day. I gotta visit 1 institution in a day. I gotta go work out. For example, I love to work out, but that's a good habit that I incorporated from my leaders. When you are really into the spirit of what you do, when you're really helping people, like I know I'm doing in this call for you, well, it complements very well when you go to the gym. And you can run, you can box, you can kickbox, you can lift weights, but being in the gym, it's an amazing possibility to be consistent. Being in the gym, it's an amazing possibility to get 1% better every day with your repetitions. Ultimately, why do you get strong and big and muscular? Because repetition of the exercise, repetition of the good eating, repetition of the good sleeping, repetition of the good habits. Well, the same is with the mind. Bob always says, Ceci, the mind, it's an invisible muscle. Imagination, it's an invisible muscle. Will is an invisible muscle. Intuition is an invisible muscle. If you work it, it will grow. If you don't work it, it will be there, but with no power. It's like the friends that you have, Ceci, and I have, and they never been in the gym. They have an arm that looks like a rat tail. Well, they have the muscles, they just haven't worked them. But if they work them, they will develop the muscle. Well, the same with this. Everybody has an amazing imagination. Everybody has an amazing memory. But if they don't use it, it's just going to be there sleeping until somebody comes and wakes it up. If you want to learn, I was telling this to one of my groups that I'm coaching. If you want to learn more about how to put to work those muscles in a very beautiful story, go back and read again, because I bet a lot of you already read it. The Alchemist from Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian amazing author. The Alchemist from Paulo Coelho. It's a kid's story or a young guy's story or an adult story, but when you read it with this perspective of personal development, and then not just like a crazy European story, then you understand how to develop your intuition, your memory, your will, how to really focus on what you want, Ceci. So focus on becoming consistent through the mindset and through your daily behaviors. And keep this in mind, and this is for everyone. Before you can achieve your goal, I don't care what it is, you gotta first have the habits of the person that is already doing that. You wanna have that amazing girlfriend or boyfriend? You gotta first be that person. I want somebody very faithful, very well studied, with beautiful values. Are you that person? Well, I'm not, but I want you. No, no, bullshit. You gotta understand that you're going to attract exactly who you are. So you gotta first incorporate those habits in you. You gotta first see, feel, think, act, sit, everything like the person that you want to attract, like the circumstance you want to attract. You want to earn €1,000,000, £1,000,000, $1,000,000. You got to first have the habits of that people. You got to wake up early. You got to study yourself. You got to auto suggest. You got to put action. You got to be persistent. You got to have a good relationship with losing. You got to be willing to lose, because it might take a few losses, temporary losses, in order to achieve the win. Well, the same in here, Ceci. Being persistent, it's a habit. And that habit is one of the common denominators of success. I'll cover the last question, my friends, because we're on the top of the hour. And I will go to my friend in here. His name is Avinihap Pandey. Did I say it correct?
Yes, sir. Avino Pandey
Okay, thank you. I was very close. Where are you from, my friend?
from India, Delhi.
Okay, welcome to the call. What can we
Thank
help
you
you
so
with,
much.
my friend?
Sir, I want to know that suppose I want to have a big house and money and a big car, anything. And the process to achieve these things is I should have a good business. So what should be my goal? Should it be that I focus on the materialistic, that car and house and money, or should my goal should be that I how by 1 year or by such some period how much I grow in my business? So what should be my goal? Should I focus on my process of achieving those goals or on those goals?
Okay, listen, you want many things, and that's okay. You want a house, you want a car, you want a business, you want to have enough cash, and you probably miss telling me a lot of other things you want to do. You want to travel, you want to buy new stuff to your girlfriend, whatever. So many things can be done with one goal. Set a money financial goal. Think about how much money will you need to start buying all that. You don't need the whole money to buy a house, you just need the down payment. You don't need the whole money to buy the car, you just need the down payment. So think about what you're earning right now and grow that amount 10, 20, 30 times. Bob was always saying, I can take you from making your yearly income to your monthly income. Well, think how many times should I have to grow my current income to achieve that? 10, 20, 30? Okay, you come up with the number. Once you set it, and I'm going to be very quick on this because I got to finish the call, but I'm going to give you 5 steps to you and to everyone, or the step process. I'm going to give you 5 steps on how to manifest whatever you want. But once again, if you don't have the mentorship, it's going to be very intellectual what I'm going to tell you. But if you have a mentor to guide you, believe me, in a year, like Bob says, you're going to need a telescope to see where you're going to be. Step number 1, you write the goal. I am so happy and grateful now that June the 30th of 2023 or earlier, I am earning a minimum of whatever you want. And I love it. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm wealthy. It is done. Step number 2, you got to build an image. With one image, not 17 images. One image of how does it look like earning that amount of money. And in that image, you're going to put yourself in the house with the car next to you, with the soulmate next to you, doing what you love to do the most in one image. Number 3, once you have the image and you have the written goal, you're going to put it in your subconscious mind through the right rituals and repetition process. That's what we teach you in a very basic way. Number 4, once you dump that in there, it might take a few weeks. Once you put that in there, the number 4 is listen to your inner voice, your guidance, your intuition. You're going to be guided one step at a time. And it might take 132 steps or 13 or 10,000, like it took to Thomas Alva Edison to develop the incandescent light. And step number 5, action. So it's set the goal, build the image, get emotionally involved with it, listen to your intuition, and put immediate action with a sense of urgency. That's it. If you follow that process, you will always win. The challenge is to follow the process because it's very easy to do it, but we are programmed to not to do it that way. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this call. You're all gonna get the recording in your emails in the next few hours, and I'll see you soon. I hope you take the step and let us guide you for the next several months. Bye-bye, my friends.